What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Bob's Garage, and today I'm going to show you how to put a 2.7T engine onto an engine stand. Alright guys, we are back at it in the garage again, and today our task that we have to accomplish for sure is we got to be able to get this engine off the engine lift. I'm going to need this hoist to lift the transmission up so it can ultimately be remarried to the engine. Having said that, I'm going to show you what it takes to install an engine stand on the 2.7T. Here is the stand itself. It's just a normal three-legged, well actually this is a four-wheel engine stand. So this style is a lot safer. It's not going to tip. Normally the cheaper ones only have three wheels, so 1, 2, and 3. And this is you can see it's got like a reinforced bracket and all that. But yeah, so what we're going to do is we're going to get this lined up here with the bolt holes on the transmission, or I'm sorry, on the back of the engine block. So let me come in here, and so this is the back of the 2.7T, and you can see our holes here are threaded. So some of them are, some of them aren't. It's going to be a little difficult here because if you look at this one here, there's a sleeve right next to that hole. So we're going to try to go for those two holes here. So 1 and 2. And let's see here. We have one more hole, but it's inside of a sleeve up here, as well as a possible hole down here. So we're gonna see. We're gonna make this happen. There's a couple more up top, so we might have to do like one up top, one over here, and another one over here, or something like that. So this is just a V6, so it's not like a big block Chevy or anything like that. It's not going to be insanely heavy, so it should be pretty straightforward. What we're first going to try to get this mounted up is using the transmission bolts themselves. So the bolts that mated the transmission to the back of the engine, we're going to check those out, see if those will actually fit or work. Basically just, we might be able to get by with only having to use some washers. Alright, so here we have our bag of transmission bolts, and if you remember, if you watched my other video, I labeled the head of every single bolt with a number, and I also put that same number on the back of the transmission itself. And all these bolts are a little bit different lengths, sizes, threading, all that. So here's 1, 2, 6, and basically the number system was, this was 1 over here, and then it went around from here. So 1, 2 clockwise. Okay, so let's see here. Biggest challenge is going to be getting all these pivoting arms kind of in position. So what we're going to do is we're going to loosen them up so we can move them around and get them into position. They also have these standoffs, which might come in really handy because we still have the flywheel and all that on the back of the engine attached. So let's get these loosened up here. This is just standard nut and bolt. There you go. Now they're all free to articulate. And if you've never used a engine stand before, they're kind of a pain in the dick to get set up. Like once you get it configured and set up and all that, then you can lock down all of these arms, which allow you to kind of keep the configuration. So next time you do it, it's already preset. So if you're working on like the same engine or same type of engine all the time, let's say like a Chevy small block or whatever, you already have these arms basically in the right positions right out of the box. So this is looking like it might work. Not quite what I was going for. The flywheel back here is getting in the way a little bit. I don't really want to unbolt it. Alright, so in my particular case, I think I'm going to go with trying just 3 arms of the bracket here. So here's what we're looking at. 1, 2, and hole number 6. And now that I look at it, I think I got the wrong bolt in there. Because it should be 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's hole 5. So I got to pull that bolt out. I'm going to need a bunch of washers and stuff. So see, this bolt is snug, and there's still like an inch or 2 gap. So that kind of shows you even more. Alright guys, after a TV timeout and a quick trip to the hardware store, I just spent way more money on hardware than I needed to. I got nuts, I got washers. So here's going to be the setup here. We got number 1, number 2, and number 5. Number 5 went right in there. I'm using a combination of these nuts that you can see, and washers, and yeah. So we're in there pretty well, pretty good. I'm going to tighten up these locking bolts, nuts and bolts, and see if it'll hold up well now. Alright, there you have it. Let's see, I'm feeling pretty confident in this. We need to now just try to lift this up. Hopefully this lift can go high enough to get it onto the engine stand. I'll have to find out. Alright, we got the engine stand on. Trying to get this over here. Wow, it's like this. So the problem that I'm having is when I pulled the engine, I didn't extend the boom arm. So it's really short, and it's when I lower the engine stand, it's basically lowering it right inside the legs of the lift, jamming it. The engine is now fully supported by the stand. Looks like we're okay. It's not locked into the lift. Okay, there you have it. So we got no slack on the chain. The engine now can be moved independent of the lift. The thing that I don't like about this engine stand that I noticed is this is the locking mechanism. It's just a bolt, but there's no hole on the bracket. And now that I look, oh, okay, this is bent. So the owner of the stand must use this side, typically like upside down, and this is pushing in. So I need to tighten the shit out of this. I don't want the engine rolling over on me or flipping over while I'm working on it, especially if I don't have the lift supporting it or holding onto it. So that's something I just noticed. So that's it. It wasn't too complicated. You just got to be careful. It's all about safety with this setup here. So let me know if you have any comments or questions. Now we can go ahead and start working on the engine itself. Not quite holding much faith in this engine stand, but this is only a V6, so it's going to weigh a lot less than a big block Chevy or something like that. But so that's how you do it. This is some of the hardware that I used. I was buying a shitload of these washers, and then I found like these nuts, and the nuts were kind of cheaper than the washers. The nuts are 9/16, 12, and 5/8, 11, and then these are 1/2-inch washers. So I thought I was going to need way more than I did, but that's okay. So now we can easily access anything on the engine. So let's do it. Yeah.